Before I start the argument for this video, I want to first of all recommend you guys to a good friend of mine and his personal short film on addiction that is on his channel. The short movie has been out for over a year now, but it talks about some pretty relatable and interesting topics on pressure, expectations, friendship, addiction, and consequences if you don't get the help that you need on time, or you push the type of people that really wants to help you. So if you're looking for a short film that briefly talks about these topics, I highly recommend that you check it out. The video is 18 minutes long, and coming from a film student, the overall quality and editing of the short film looks really impressive. So check it out, leave a comment, drop a like, and subscribe so we can get more from him. His name is Samuel Hall, and the name of the channel is Sam Media or the Media Studios. Link to his channel and his video are down in the description below if you're interested in checking it out. Thank you so much. In February of 2021, the Avatar Cinematic Universe, or as I like to call it, the Avatar Mythological Universe, was launched because the creators are still interested in fleshing out the world that they've created. They've mended their issues with Nickelodeon and teamed up with Paramount to make their own little company called Avatar Studios. And thanks to this collaboration, they've announced 3 projects that are currently in development for the future. In 2024, we're getting a Kyoshi animated movie, in 2025, we're getting a Zuko animated movie, and in 2026, we're getting a Korra animated movie. These 3 projects, together with the release from more comics from Dark Horse and the live-action Avatar series that is still in development from Netflix, means that we're going to be getting way more Avatar content for the future. And while I think it's good news that they have their own studio and they are promising many projects ahead to be released, it's starting to have some fans worried because they feel like the projects might ruin the image that the franchise have created for itself. Some fans are really thinking that exploring the side and mystery of the universe of the characters is not necessary, and rather than add to the positives of the franchise, it might help bring it down and make fans lose interest in it. Essentially, they think that the continuation of the Avatar universe might make it suffer, just like Star Wars and the MCU have suffered. And personally, while I am super excited for the future projects that are coming up, I can't help but understand where some of these people are coming from. While choosing to flesh out side characters like Zuko and Kyoshi is cool, you can't help but understand that it's unnecessary because these side characters never really needed fleshing out outside of the main series in the first place. And while I like Korra and her show, not everybody did. In fact, some people think that the downfall of the franchise actually started from there. So what am I getting at here? What's the point of what I'm actually trying to say? Well, the point is, while the launch of Avatar's own studios, where they can make their own world feel bigger than before, is actually cool, the first few projects that they've announced, while looking exciting, feels a little unnecessary and have fans divided because of it. But do you want to know the announcement that Avatar Studios will make that will get fans excited and united back to this universe again? To me, that exciting announcement is none other than an Avatar fighting game. Now stop. Is this an objective opinion on how I think Avatar Studios can get all the fans together? However, I do really think that a future developing Avatar game will make fans really excited, and I want to explain why. And yes, for me it has to be a fighting game because I'm biased, alright? Now I want to keep this brief because I have other videos that I'm working on, but I do want to make my point on why an Avatar fighting game would be a good idea. So I divided the video into 3 sections. First, I'll talk about the presentation of the game, like the studios in charge and how it will get fans intrigued. And then I'll talk about the characters and its roster and the dream battles that will be cool to see. And lastly, story ideas for the game if it actually wants to delve into that aspect. So let's begin with the presentation and studio for the game, which in my opinion is very important to get fans and audiences' attention. A game development under the hands of a good well-known studio will make fans count the days before the release of the game, especially if the studio decides to drop like a 3-second teaser on what they have been working on. And my own personal pick for the studio should be none other than Arc System Works. Now there are many other good studios out there that could probably take the Avatar franchise and make a good fighting game out of them. But I personally chose Arc System because of the previous games that they've worked on in the past. And I'm not the only person who thinks that this studio would make a really great fighting game out of Avatar. So many other gamers are also hoping for this studio to get their hands on it. And the reason is simply because of their mastery on 2D graphics animations on fighting games. Great examples of games that they've worked on are Guilty Gear and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, but their most popular example is their work on Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is honestly their best work yet. Their techniques on the use of animations, looks, designs, and overall graphics of their games will make so many fans pay close attention to every news and information on Avatar if they chose to make a game with the studio, because they know that everything under the studio will be done right, from character modules to character designs to concept arts to the overall gameplay of the game. And speaking briefly from the gameplay from Arc System, they are mainly known for their neat techniques on 2D animation and incorporating that type of style on Avatar characters, but with their own specific fighting style, will be really freaking cool to see. Arc System makes the fighting gameplay different for each project that they are working on. The fighting techniques and gameplay of Guilty Gear isn't the same with Dragon Ball, and if they get Avatar, obviously it will be different. The personal way I see Avatar gameplay on Arc System is a little bit grounded, but with bending abilities and different styles for different characters. Think of the Mortal Kombat games, but with no bloody violence. And personally, I would like for Avatar characters to have ultimate moves, kinda like how Naruto does on Ninja Storm 4. So yeah, if I were to make a choice on the gameplay, I would say make different fighting style for each character like Mortal Kombat, and give them ultimate moves like Ninja Storm 4, but incorporate the amazing 2D graphics and animation that Arc System is known for. This is so when combos are done, it will look really good to see, just like it does on the show. And to boost the presentation a lot more, get the trusted composer for Avatar music, Jeremy Zuckerman, to make the soundtrack for the game. I don't know about you guys, but Jeremy Zuckerman alone is already more than half of the reason I'm excited for everything that Avatar Studios is developing. And I'm pretty sure that adding him to the team along with the materials that Arc System has to offer will get so many fans interested, or at least a little bit intrigued. Next is the characters, and you know what guys, I'm not even gonna pretend on this aspect. I want every created and established character in this game, both from Aang's world and Korra's world. The dream battles, rare character moments between universes, and fan service moments would be cool to see. Some people might say adding characters from Korra's world might make the game feel a little bit too much or bloated, but if you look at the roster from Naruto Storm 4, it has pretty much almost every character from that universe in the roster, and they somehow still found time to add in DLC characters and new arenas, which led to me and my friends getting creative on the characters that we want to put against each other. Why not the same for the Avatar game? With almost every character in the roster, there will be so much room for so much creative dream battles between characters that we've never seen fight or interact with each other before. Some of the ones that I personally would love to play and see would be Azula vs Puli, Toph vs Ghazan, Aang vs Tenzin, Katara vs Minghua, and Ozai vs Unalaq, just to name a few. I don't know about you guys, but dream battles that we could never see from the show is definitely a 75% reason as to why I actually want this game to be made. And we can only get that if we add in Korra's characters. For crying out loud, a cool YouTuber by the name of Antoine Bandel has made viral dream battle videos of what it would look like if characters from Aang and Korra's world actually met. And that's how we all knew his channel, because we all know that it would be fun to see a battle like that done on screen. Well, at least that's how I knew of his channel. Either ways, a stacked roster of all characters from both Aang's and Korra's world would be really cool to see. And I'll also like it if they bring in arenas and bending rules from both universes as well. An Agni Kai gaming rule battle of Mako vs Azula, or a pro bending match of Iroh and the White Lotus versus Zahir and his Red Lotus will get me even more pumped to get and play the game. And for some of us that are really into the concept of an open world game, kinda like how Naruto had on Storm 4 in adventure mode, then we definitely need Korra's characters for that, because her show opened the door for a Spirit Realm open world game to happen, because it delved into the Spirit Realm aspect more than Aang series did. And finally, as for the story mode of the game, here I would just say that if they can't come up with a new story, then they should just adapt the ones from the original series, particularly season 2 and 3 from Avatar The Last Airbender and season 3 and 4 from Legend of Korra. I have my own personal rough idea for the story mode of the game, but it's just 20% developed, and it's not like the rough ideas that I gave for Thor and Injustice 3. It's just little snippets of ideas, and it's also not that original. I don't want to say much on it, But essentially my ideas was gonna have Aang in his adult form and Korra have a rematch against Ozai and Zahir. The basic idea in mind was to see how they would react if they saw each other, and how they will once again defeat the villains that they couldn't defeat if it wasn't for the help of their avatar state. In my own story, both Aang and Korra can't get into the avatar state because everything is unbalanced. There are two avatars currently in the same timeline, and that shouldn't be possible. So now that they can't enter their avatar state, how would they once again defeat the very people that they put down with the help of it? Again, it's just a rough concept of me throwing ideas. The best option for the story mode in my opinion is for them to just adapt the original stories from the show, or maybe they could adapt the ones from the comics instead. Either ways, it will be way less stressful than coming up with a whole new story for the game. Naruto Ninja Storm 4 took the adaptation approach, and it was the best approach that they could take because it made room for fans to now play and experience the story rather than just watching it. Either ways will be fine from me, but with all this stuff that I've mentioned, hopefully it somehow proves to some of you guys that a fighting game for Avatar can work and get fans really excited. And under the right studio, it would instantly become one of the most anticipated games of that year. It has pretty much almost everything already set on the table. All it needs is a green light on development by Avatar Studios. The Arcane series on Netflix was instantly loved by so many fans and audiences when it came out initially. And thanks to that, Riot Games and Project L are already developing a fighting game for it. And from what we've seen so far, it looks really good. Why not the same for the Avatar franchise? And I know that some of you guys can make the argument on them choosing to make either an RPG game of players and consequence or a one-story narrative game. And your points will probably be logical, but why not a fighting game? They have all the main key components to make one now. They have so many established characters, arenas, environments, and special versus modes that are made specifically for their universe. It would be so easy for them to announce it and build anticipation and excitement for fans, because almost everybody, despite of what they might think of the future, really likes the Avatar franchise. And in my opinion, to get everyone excited again, maybe what they need to bring all the fans together is an Avatar fighting game. Take everything that has been established in this universe, from the comics to the novels and to the series, and use it all on the fighting game project, just like Naruto and Dragon Ball did with their own gaming projects. But that's just my own personal overall subjective opinion on Avatar. Now I would like to know what some of you guys think. Do you agree that Avatar needs a fighting game? Do you want them to come up with a new story idea for the game, or just adapt from the show? Are you excited for the animated movies that they've announced? And if the fighting game was to be announced, what dream battles and characters would you like to see? Sound off your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.